Welcome everyone to this live stream. In case it works a little bit more than less, something like that. As you can see, not our regular setup, because we got here our Rendition Vérité finally set up, in contrast to popular belief of people who think I'm too stupid to install chipset drivers for the Voodoo. I managed to install a CD-ROM driver for DOS and Windows 95, as well as the Rendition Vérité driver here, as you can see. And this allows us not only to test here this Rendition Vérité, whether it works, that we got ourselves from eBay, but also to experience Quake, how I never experienced it back in the day. So also the live streaming setup is not yet 100% amazing ideal, because I need to watch here myself Quake from the screen capture. Probably sometime next I need to get a splitter here to be able to capture and view the VGA signal without actually without the video capture delay. So let's ramp up here the, where did I hit the capture volume? Even super clever to close that. So to show you how does this look, so actually Quake is one of those games that I played myself back in the day. Actually, do we need to check shortly? So we should be streaming what I see, I guess. Maybe I should actually also maximize OBS here more, that I see more of the Quake capture. And okay, amazing stuff. So it starts with video capture being clipped. What? Okay, so much to maybe this amazing. Which of those should this be? This, I guess, so much to what, 720? Okay, anyway. Amazing binary only capture not. So I hope that is mostly on the screen. So this is how Quake looked back in the day, and so this is captured from the Rendition Vérité. Okay, I see this. So this is how it looked. Of course, you see OBS on Linux is not happy with the change of the video mode. Let's quickly rescale this again for... So the problem, of course, each time I switch the video mode, now we have this nonsense. So this is how I remember this, and again, this is one of those games that I actually played, in contrast to Crisis or whatnot, because then I was busy. So this was really those days. And I'm running this on an AMD K6, although I have underclocked it because Windows 95 doesn't boot with more than 300 megahertz or something, when it crashes with whatever, iOS, something, whatever, I think some counter overflowing or whatever. So this is how we played this, maybe in another higher resolution. And then we have again OBS capture. I have no idea what we played this with. Let's yeah, amazing mode switching, not Maybe we need to patch OBS another day. Ah, damn it, how can usability be like this? Anyway, you get the idea. And certainly I guess this looked already pretty good. I mean, this was state of the art, right? State of the art 3D graphics in 1996 or something like that. And I did not even know that this card exists, so let's switch to, this was software rendering and yeah, mode switching. What was the name? You see testing everything here live on YouTube. It's of course really slightly stupid. So I'm not sure if this is OBS or solution, whatever, come on. So what was the other weak Quake, I guess. So this is now hardware accelerated bilinear filtering and anti-aliasing. Certainly you agree that this looks amazing, so I've never in my life until today seen this except maybe a YouTube video. I did not even know that this was a thing, that this existed. As I said in the other video, we mostly knew about S3 Verge versus the Voodoo, and the Voodoo nobody of us got because nobody of us liked this degradation of signal quality and with a VGA pass-through, and we also didn't like having two cards, I mean, not to mention not having the money. And again, this is not the highest resolution, so we can even switch to something much more amazing than this. I wish OBS would do this for me, but it doesn't. Sorry for the moving video capture frame. This comes when you do it live and you do it the first time without having tested this before. Actually, I could move it to the side, then you have less clipping. So certainly you agree that this looks amazing. Maybe actually the aspect ratio right now is slightly borked because whatever. Yeah, certainly this aspect ratio can be optimized. So I'm pretty happy that this card works, because always when you buy something on eBay, then does it work, does it not work? And it would even run even more amazing if I would not underclock this for Windows, which is of course hilarious. Leave me in the comments below what you think about this. Next we could try, we could try to play this, but to play this, first of all, I'm slightly irritated by the aspect ratio. Maybe we just choose a slightly different resolution to fix here this OBS scaling. What could we? Not for the performance, but just to have some more correct looking scaling. This capture is really funny. Maybe also leave me in the comments where you want this thumbnail, or if you want a thumbnail or not. Okay, capture only then. Usability in 2019. Everything a little bit. Anyway, certainly this looks really amazing. Of course, later you could have similar stuff with GL versions, but this was one, as far as I understand from internet research, this was the first hardware accelerated version of Quake. And certainly back in the day I have not seen it like this. And yeah, we can try to play this, although I definitely have to change some key bindings because right now the key bindings are not ideal. Also have not played this. Also, by the way, what was the error by a few years by the time old enough? 1999 was proper 3D cards with no pass-through. Yeah, so this is why I got the S3 Verge, although it was a de-accelerator, but you see this certainly is not a de-accelerator. This runs mighty amazing here. Just that I usually need to change some key bindings. Okay, this key. So yeah, I've not played this in 2 decades, so this will certainly suck majorly. Usually I also change the key bindings a good deal to have here the left and right sliding somewhere else. Certainly, probably the mouse is also not on. Where is this invert mouse? Look. Pinning, customize, reset, something, mouse speed, 5 wood. Anyway, was this not up and down? Customize controls, probably there that is. Attack here, and where is mouse, go to mouse speed, always run. Is it maybe this? No. Whatever that was. Anyway, let's see if we can get this played. I'm actually surprised that this video VGA analog capture is as good as it is, and yeah, this sucks like this. I need there's this keys, but this, I mean, the default key binding in my opinion is a little bit stupid here. Where was what? I have no idea where was what. Can you? Oh, okay, this was not good. This is also jumping. Again, to play this properly, I would need a couple of more minutes to refamiliarize me here with this. So we played this. This is original. Where were my scene keys? Maybe are something like this here. Original backup copy here. So I also, not that people come here with piracy, I purchased already 6 months ago this GOG something, so I not only have this backup copy wherever my brother's CD is or something, but I own a new license from GOG. Just that the GOG thing is of course digital, and I did not want to bother here with this default. I really wonder who designed the default controls here. These are really annoying in my opinion here. That sliding left and right are so far away. I have it here on comma and dot or some nonsense. Extremely uncomfortable. I usually change this so to have them all around in one cluster, but whatever. So yeah, looks amazing. I wish I would have more time to really play with this Rendition Vérité. This is basically securing here. This is for the collection of outstanding hardware stuff. Where was the continuation of this level actually? Where was I? Here I was. Oh, does it continue here? Maybe. Yeah, key binding sucks. This is hilarious. And yeah, I wish I would have just have the time to play here now with microcode stuff. I've disassembled this, so the games have all the microcode here, so I copied the Quake microcode. These key bindings are hilarious. I mean, who came up? Anyway, this is unplayable with these key bindings. I don't know what drugs they had at ID, or does it make more sense with an American keyboard? I have no idea. Customize. But what would be, I want always run invert mouse. Why would here look? I would want aiming with the mouse. Why is the aiming not with the mouse? Customize controls. So I would want slide left. Let's might here. Is it? Yeah. So step left should be maybe that. Step right, and where would look up? Can we make this mouse? No. What else do we need? So running there, stepping, sidestep, what? Look up, we could make look up that here on this cluster. And, mouse, wait a sec, mouse look or mouse R, you need to press a button. I would want this the default, I guess. Mouse 3, interesting, okay. Then let's try, let's try that again. Again, it would run even more amazing if I wouldn't underclock this K62. Actually, so this is it's a AMD K62 450 or something that I tested runs overclocked at 550, and this is an original CPU. So this motherboard, this logic board, and the CPU are original from what we had. Maybe it was my brother's. It is from our basement. I guess it's my brother's. But you are sure you want to start a new game? Yes, whatever. Oh, yes. So original stuff that we had, not got this for the eBay funds. So yeah, sliding, look up. This is way more R, and then yeah, third button, that makes at least more sense. And so yeah, as you see, just some key binding customizations, and immediately it is more amazing. And it also needs invert mouse. So again, I really wonder why this was the same back in the day. I always had to customize all this stuff. Otherwise it was, yeah, this makes sense in my opinion. This was already the same back in the day. And look on this gorgeous texturing here, filtering. This is amazing. Not sure if I've ever seen it look that good. Maybe I had a Linux version, if there was a GL Quake version, I don't know. Because after that I had a Matrox card, Matrox Millennium 2, and then, so I even have all of those. I'm really lucky that I didn't sell those for the pennies on eBay, because of course back in the day this you wouldn't get much money for those. Really need to get used to this again. Live on, come on, live on YouTube. And really, how would be, anyway. So yeah, I still have all those cards. I only sold a couple of things like my G3 iBook, which was certainly useful, although maybe this would also be nice to have, but also vintage gear I have. And as I said, I didn't even know that this card existed back in the day, and I'm really surprised that this was a thing. And I'm also surprised that the Voodoo stuff was such a thing now on YouTube and such, because as I said, nobody of us had those. I didn't know a single person, and yeah, I play this like shit because 2 decades of not playing this. And yeah, also was this one of the first, if not the first, I don't know, maybe it was the first, certainly the first that I know there was also Descent, right? But maybe the first true 3D, correct me if I'm wrong. Then do I need to get used on those controls still? Really a long time not playing this. Come on. I'm really bad in this after 2 decades, but again, I was just writing Mac code and writing some invoices, so straight from the office between invoices. And yeah, but so even the animations, I mean, back in the days this was so state of the art. I so remember how we enjoyed this. This was so outstanding. Graphics, animations, level design, you name it. Yeah, I hope you enjoy this nightly oops, what's this? Anyway, so yeah, animation first through through 3D, and this again, this was this version as far as I understood was, where is even this anime here? The first 3D accelerated version of this, and really nice to have this card in my collection, and comments in the audience that are hard to read when you play a game. And yeah, so a fun fact, I think in Germany, as far as I know and remember, Wolfenstein 3D was on the index. It was not allowed to purchase or have, or I don't know what, and yet someone knew someone who back in the day had a copy of the shareware. So but at this time I was really young, 14 or I don't know what, 13. Maybe not the most appropriate thing, this Wolfenstein. These things can explode, maybe I shouldn't be standing here. And yeah, this felt really forbidden. There's something also. Oh, cool. So yeah, playing, but this was on a 386, right? On my father's 386 SX25 that I still haven't repaired. And this felt really forbidden, playing this Wolfenstein 3D, knowing very well, or at least rumors. I mean, back in the day, you didn't have internet to Google this, so you mostly relied on hearsay. But yeah, I guess it was on the index. It was probably not, and maybe we shouldn't play this with 12 or whatever age we have been. What was jumping, by the way? Can we jump from there to? Oh, we could. So yeah, fun fact, was there a pause key, maybe this, or actually, it doesn't pause. Maybe I should. Anyway, comments in the audience. Comments, developing PCI video card for fun, that is fun. There's also some, did I mention this? I think I mentioned this but I really wish, was there, what would be pause? There's a RISC-V GPU project and coprocessor. Welcome everyone, by the way. And where I don't have reverse engineer. Yeah, so numlock 1 in console has been what? Numlock 1. What? Okay. What is the VPS control? By the way, can someone Google how to get here? Console is here, this, I know that, but frames per second I think didn't do a thing. If someone could, or was it can someone Google what is frame counter stuff here? But look at this texture filtering. I mean, I wish I could like disable this, but you have seen starting this without that. Without the Rendition Vérité. And yeah, so much to those haters who told me I'm too stupid to install chipset driver and total noob and incompetent. So first of all, I could get the Voodoo 2 running without chipset drivers, and I've still not installed any chipset drivers, so much to that chipset driver nonsense. Where did I even get in here? Anyway, I guess that is more or less nearly enough or something for that. Let me check. I can Google as nobody has. I have played X1 something. Let me Google myself. How many frame drops do we have, by the way? Slightly, by the way. Fun fact: this OBS setup gets slightly, 0 drop frames, amazing. 30 FPS with 7%. So I'm actually surprised how well this binary only, we can also change the scene, what was this one? Yeah, our increasingly amazing and convoluted here, not only amazing Sun keyboards for the scene selection, binary only. So yeah, all 1 year of practicing YouTube, gathering stuff like the VGA capture, modding here the Sun keyboard stuff, and testing this here with line capture and VGA capture and DOS vintage setup, and getting esoteric cards on eBay. So of course Rendition Vérité, one of the more esoteric cards that I didn't even know that existed, and also installing this. So I also, fun fact, show FPS, yeah, of course show FPS. How could I forget this after 2 decades? Thanks for googling this. And also, by the way, playing this on this mechanical awesome keyboard here that is so dark that you don't even see this, but anyway. And original mouse, so I didn't get the mouse. This is an original mouse from mine here. So much to not eBaying this and throwing this away, and then still having, yeah, of course, US keyboard, show FPS. What? Show FPS, is this not what? Ah, show FPS 1. Oh no, come on, show. It's not mistyped though. Maybe the... yeah, so much to always auctioning everything away on eBay, and then 2 decades later you want this for your... wrong keyboard, too many keyboards. For your vintage fun Quake, FPS counter something, console, Quake Champions. Is this the right Quake, or... in-game doesn't show during the tutorial, yada yada. I have the feeling this is a new version of show FPS, how to show FPS in Quake 1. Can't remember, yeah, okay. But by the way, why do people need to answer in a forum can't remember? Time, what, no, not time demo. Much better, download, what? Oh, come on. Perhaps simple way, tons of programs. What? Come on, internet. How can Google be so bad at show? Come on here. DOS can't be so. Native DOS games, frame rate, VPS display is decent 2. So if decent 2 is frame time, there is Doom games that have a built-in time demo that runs through. Why is this? Wing Commander, does it not have one or what? Don't tell me this doesn't have one. Anyway, what was this? Was it time demo 1 or was it time demo? Oh, I should have closed the browser. Really curious what is the performance of this. There we have something. Answering, I don't know, is better than guy writing the wrong answer. Yeah, that is also, yeah, okay, but at least it sounded reasonable and plausible. Quake time demo. Let's see, how do I measure FPS? Here is something very simple. Once opening the demo starts, pull down, type time demo, name of the demo, for example, time demo 1. Yeah, okay, this is not really what I wanted, but wrong keyboard. Let's see how this is going. capture is really annoying though. Maybe I shouldn't have tried to tweak it while... 28 frames per second, so... But this was, by the way, something we actually played this with. We could, what resolution are we running, by the way, so to do this a little bit scientific here. So yeah, 30 frames, which again was super high, right? I remember when I played Doom and such, we only had the 386 SX25. I was playing with only like 10 frames or whatsoever. So all the hype nowadays with 60 frames per second, or even now, this was totally unheard of. I was, even when I later had a Pentium 120, I was more than happy if stuff run at 20 frames or something. Let's check. So this was 30 frames per second. Let's do the same. So this was 640 by 400. Let's quit this here and run the regular version. That is the software engine. Yeah, you see, totally amazing video capture. 640 by, oh, there it is. And again, the repositioning dance here. So if you know one of the OBS developers or something, maybe the Linux version needs a little bit more auto rescaling stuff here. But I guess it is visible that it runs much worse, and it certainly looks much worse, right? So let's see, time demo 1. But yeah, so this is how I remember playing Quake, and at that time, 1996 or whatever that was, 1997, this graphic was state of the art, and we were so happy and thrilled by that. Is this even running the time demo, or? I hope it does though. Was this not the time demo or what? Ah, do we? Wait a second, does it? What is this even doing? Was it not time demo 1? Why does it not work? Oh no, it's playing the demo. Why does it not? Somehow this timing is strange. Anyway, I think it's visible that it runs noticeably slower. I would guesstimate half, maybe. And it certainly looks way better. Amazing throwback here in time. And yeah, just time is a thing. Would be really nice to play here with directly programming the MIPS, like RISC CPU there that we disassembled already the other months or week at least. And yeah, so with my disassembly stuff, you can disassembly the microcode of those games. So the driver comes with the microcode for 2D and 3D GL, and then the games come with their own microcode. So this Verity Quake comes with 2 microcode files, and they are all ELF. So while I was wondering with the original video with Xorg driver having this ELF binaries, those games here, all those microcode files are the same ELF format, but often they don't have symbols. So somehow something is off here with, why is it? Somehow this demo doesn't want to print the FPS. Confuses me a little bit, whatever. Anyway, yeah, time is a thing. I certainly should probably do more microkernel stuff and just use here some samples to give you some historic reference, how stuff developed. Certainly totally amazing stuff here. Maybe we could also run another time demos in. Anyway, leave me in the comments below what you would like to see more. Vintage gaming, vintage graphics, modern graphics. And also we could, by the way, try to plug this into the external PCI closure, the Razer Core X. Not only this Rendition Vérité, but also the Voodoo graphics would be interesting to see if this works over PCIe connected to modern devices. And aside from this, I still have to polish the Voodoo graphics. That works in principle, just needs a little bit more love there. And maybe I do the same for the Rendition Vérité just for the fun of it. And certainly we can do, as an easy step in between, try to run the X driver, because I'm pretty sure very few people in the last decade or two even have tried to use the X driver. So testing, checking out the X driver, whether that works or not. Isn't there an SDK like for the Verity with code samples? Yeah, so there is an SDK, but that's only half of the stuff. Then you need to do this on Windows. You could also, the later drivers have support for Direct3D and OpenGL, but certainly this is only half of the fun. I don't want to write a Direct3D or OpenGL game. And also I think there never was 3D support open source for Linux or stuff like this. So that would be an interesting thing, to be the only outsider of this commercial space there to write support for this, especially as there never was. And this would be something that my collection there of demos, low-level bare metal demos for the Verge, for the Voodoo, for this, would be about to have reference readable code, because of course the SDK is with DLLs for Windows binary only for you to use, and in my opinion this is only half of the fun. I'm slightly irritated that this time demo stuff, time demo, what? Time demo, oops, Why does this not work? Applying demo from demo. Anyway, you get the idea. But again, this is a software renderer. Of course, the other one looks way more amazing. Ah, this is interesting. Does OBS save? You see, right now it's not distorted. That does maybe, if you're lucky, and it saves. Here's a position, maybe, if you're lucky. Anyway, that would be a cool feature, actually. Yeah, I guess it's visible how much more amazing this is. Maybe the show FPS has something to do with it, though. Oh, there is something. No. Maybe the show FPS, because now it says here something. Whatever. Anyway, as usual, I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for tuning in. And as always, leave me in the comments below what you like to see more than less. I have the feeling now this is running this time demo with... maybe the show FPS is doing something after all. Thanks for looking this up. I knew this, at least I... Wait a second, what did I... Oh, did I Alt-Tab? If I Alt-Tabbed, then that would not be good, because this installation has some hiccup. Yeah, I guess we've frozen there. Or is this a video capture? If we are lucky, maybe... I noticed this already. Now we probably likely crashed this, because after installing something, maybe the CD-ROM driver or whatever. No, it... wait a second, did something happen? Something happens a little bit. But I noticed this already before, unrelated of the screen capture, that... Oh, do we Alt-Tab? Somehow something happens a little bit, but not much. There, this comes from too many keywords. Yeah, so much to the amazing Windows 95 stability. Unsafe changes. Discord. Yeah, so much to the amazing Windows 95 stability, and why we at that day and age went to Linux. This was not the case before with the Voodoo, and not with the Rendition Vérité, I think. I think this started today after I installed some driver, like either the CD-ROM driver or that I can't leave the DOS mode here at all, or something. So something happens a little bit, surprisingly, but not really. Anyway, we are mostly through. People tuned out already. And anyway, looked amazing, was amazing, except the Windows 95 stability. And for all the stuff for the future that we can do here, not only vintage gaming, if you're interested in this, having some fun after work, but also writing drivers, microkernel for sure, something more stable than Windows. And yeah, I have, the thing is, so many things to work on. I have the Voodoo stuff to finish. I also have P3 stuff to finish or continue. The thing is, with the P3, I mentioned this before, it's not as much fun when the hypervisor or we get a graphic exception and this crashes. And this is why it's more fun to do. Well, this YouTube channel is about fun, so it makes no sense for me to, after work, writing invoices, dealing with customers and writing some XXGen and OCR software and embedded Linux and virtualization stuff, work on P3. That's not as much fun as I would like it is. And with this, yeah, so we have the Voodoo stuff. We do the mode setting. We can do 2D stuff on the Voodoo too. And stuff to do on the Voodoo is 3D textures that should be relatively medium easy. And also for some reason it doesn't work in PC emulator, which I would like that this works. And really strange here, but I really wonder why. But maybe it has something to do with the context switching. Maybe it is since I installed the Rendition Vérité driver anyway. And yeah, so with the Rendition Vérité, it is slightly more effort to get working with low-level bare metal code because of the microcode stuff. We would either have to load the pre-made microcode, which is not as much fun, or we would need, on top of our own low-level code, also write our own low-level microcode. That is certainly totally challenging here on, because we don't have the toolchain, we don't have the assembler, except we write our own assembler and stuff. So yeah, most likely I will first do more microkernel stuff like developing in QEMU and writing against virtual IO, virt.io interface that is more universal usable for you guys and people to learn and use daily on a daily administration basis and inspire people to do more modern operating system stuff. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, which in so many cameras, this is a scene. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in, for hanging out here together at night. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoy looking at this exotic vintage stuff as much as I do. With this, it's time to wish you a good night. Hello, device, thanks for joining. So the thing is actually very theoretically, I mean, as Devi or just joined, I need to get better with names. Using our trusty power button operating stuff. And let's shorten here the power pins, which is slightly dangerous with the sound blaster hanging here. Then you see this booting, that it's not faked. And then we call it a day. So here, amazing. Switching here, so yeah, this is underclocked. So it is a 450, but this doesn't. And I tested this. I've run this with some earlier video from last year. You need to check via voice or whatever. I've run this overclock to 550 that runs stable. And hello, do we continue also? But maybe this did mode switch or something. Yeah, this mode switch and then the video doesn't update. So yeah, only live on YouTube, some good old-fashioned scan disk because whatever. And yeah, so this was not fake, this was not an emulator, this was not some other voodoo, it wasn't another whatsoever. It is underclocked. Maybe you can patch Windows for whatever. Yeah, and mode switching slightly not amazing. Let's see if my theory is correct, but this is not yet. Somehow this is not the R. Maybe this is R. Okay. Yeah, OBS scaling. Let's see. Is my theory correct that? Come on. Maybe there is. Is there a button to scale to full screen? Window projector scaling. Yeah. Anyway. Too many keyboards here. Always hitting the... This is how we got stuck. We only crashed this ourselves with hitting Alt-Tab on the wrong keyboard, only live on YouTube. So yeah, there you have it. And then let's see if to replay this for the new recurring. Ah, this is not the right directory. Yeah, also lesson learned, you do not want binary only. Why do I not see what we are typing? Let's do this again for the new people in the audience. So is my theory correct? Maybe not. Yeah, VGA, video capture at its best. So my theory that OBS saves this was likely not correct, because this doesn't do the most amazing thing here. So yeah, vintage gaming, not the most amazing video capture if you constantly need to tweak your video capture. The joy of analog video stuff. But yeah, we are mostly through. I hope you learned something. And yeah, again, thanks for watching, thanks for joining, thanks for enjoying this vintage retro state of the art, latest and greatest. And unlike the S3 Verge, it's not a deaccelerator, it's indeed an accelerator. We could, by the way, experiment one more time with time demo 1. But somehow I have the feeling we have comments in the audience, you know, that one was Doom and Quake version where the PC processor was... What? You know, there once was a Doom version where your PC processors... Ah, I know, you know, means that like a task manager. Yeah, maybe I heard about this. So I have the feeling you need to set here show FPS1 unknown command, show FPS. So maybe, I don't know, this is somehow really slightly strange. This show FPS, whatever. Anyway, only replayed this to prove here the BIOS, the processor, that this is actually, now I have the feeling this is time demoing something. I have the feeling it has to do with show FPS, although it doesn't have an effect or whatever. Something is slightly fishy if someone wants to Google there something. Are we through the... Yeah, looks cool. I somehow... Yeah, we are working on our YouTube stuff. I can also up the audio, by the way. You could have, as we have here, professional mixing stuff. Yeah, this is, for those new in the audience, this is Rendition Vérité. Here, the first hardware, as far as I have read and know and whatsoever, the first hardware accelerated version of Quake. I didn't know back in the day it existed. I didn't even know that the graphic card existed. If you are new to the channel, you can watch the previous video of yesterday where we tested the just arrived Rendition Vérité here. Yeah, this is not DirectX, so this is bare metal DOS with direct microcode loaded for just those. So do we have a time demo or what is here? Somehow I'm... Something is here strange with... Somehow this is really strange here. No, somehow the time demo stuff I still didn't really quite. I'm too stupid to install chipset drivers, and I'm too stupid to time demo Quake for whatever reason. So was this here, so this is the 30 frames per second that we had before. Maybe we finally, if this has something to do with this, let's try the software renderer just for those in the audience to compare this. So this was hardware accelerated and filtered and anti-aliased. This is just the video capture, because why not? Let's try the software renderer. Maybe we now finally figured out how to time demo this. So again, software. And again, you certainly see the visual difference here. And let's try if we let's see if it prints out the FPS. Yeah, by the way, captured on Linux, of course, we are a huge Linux fan channel. Captured it's open source. Slightly wondering if it is running the FPS thing. Yeah, again, I have a Voodoo 2 for those new to the channel. I also got myself a Voodoo 2 here recently. We could try this theoretically with a GL Quake version on the Voodoo 2 or something. But this certainly, again, this right now software renderer before was vintage Rendition Vérité. And again, for many of you probably never knew this card existed. There you also see marketing and such. So let's see, did it? But it didn't print the time. This is ridiculous. I have the feeling it needs show FPS 1 or something. It's of course really ridiculous that maybe it needs show FPS. It has something to do with show FPS or something of that sort. Yeah, so for those who are new to the audience, we also have Power VR Kuro 2 that I got already a decade ago before I even got the idea to start a YouTube channel. And I also have a TNT2 from my brother. So again, if you want to rewind the video, I said this, this is not all eBay material. This is stuff we really had back in the day. So AMD K62. Original stuff. I really want this benchmark result, so. But I have the impression my guesstimate is it runs half as fast and certainly looks less amazing. Let's see, did we get... This is ridiculous. Does the software version not have a... How can running a time demo thing be so difficult. It's really ridiculous. Anyway, I wish this would have worked here earlier, because it's getting a little bit boring for myself to watch the same time demo there over and over again. But it says here it needs a newer version of the game, so probably because this is the original backup here. Apparently this version 1.0 doesn't have the FPS counter, which is of course set. So that explains why we don't get this. So I'm, in contrast to popular belief that I'm too stupid to install chipset drivers, it might not be my fault. Excessive Googling resulted in that. Maybe I could, from my GOG download, copy that executable over here another day. But with that being said, of course, the software renderer does not look as amazing. And certainly here this Quake, this Rendition Vérité Quake looks much more amazing. Also used more memory, by the way. The other was 8 MB or something. And this is just our amazing capture stuff, you name it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I said this before. Leave me in the comments below as usual. By the way, should we try something completely crazy? Let's try the max resolution. Apparently it's this one, I guess. And maybe let's time demo 1. But this is, at least when the console is down, much slower. Let me reposition. But yeah, certainly the highest resolution Quake you would get back in the day, I guess. So yeah, we are not only a vintage and retro gaming channel here. By the way, I speak so loud because maybe I speak too loud because I have headset on and hear this relatively loud. We are not a pure vintage and retro gaming channel here. This is just some hobby stuff in between. So hey, this is actually, look at this, hardware accelerated. It's even the same FPS here, actually, like 1 frame faster. We had here 30 and 29 already. So actually not too bad for this vintage graphic. Also, by the way, this is my original Sound Blaster AVE64 ISA card here, so everything from the basement. And yeah. a little bit annoying that this video scaling is as suboptimal as it is. Yeah, so for those new in the audience, not only a vintage and retro gaming channel here, this is just some nightly hobby with looking at the development and interesting cards. Again, because back in the day I did not even know that this existed. Found this with YouTube and other vintage retro stuff and was just curious how that was then. And it's certainly much more amazing than the S3 Verge. Similar amazing as the Voodoo. And again, historically significant because the first hardware isolated Quake. Rendition Vérité, Quake here. And who knows, maybe another day we will do some programming with this microcode. If you're interested in this, I disassembled the microcode already in an earlier video. And with this, I guess it's time. Look at this amazingly bilinear filter textures. Yeah, I've never seen Quake look this good. I have, by the way, let me pick up something. I have here actually, and this is also, oops, too many cameras, what would be the main camera? This is my own original stuff, so I'm not faking this and not getting this here for this YouTube fame, because this is a very rare, I guess, version. So not only is this a metal box version of Quake 3 Arena, I think it's Quake 3, right? Yeah, should be 3. So much to having here pirate copies, of course not. And because this is a very rare, should probably be slightly visible there, this Loki. This is a Linux edition because I was already in Linux for a very long time. And yeah, I played this on Linux, of course, Rock Linux back in the day, as we have here our own Linux. Rock Linux with Matrox G450 I had back in the day, with nearly the only high-performance open source graphic drivers available. And we certainly will resurrect this. I was holding this in the camera also already a couple of videos, live streams, a couple of months ago. But sometime soon we will actually take a look at this just for the fun and memories of this. So yeah, this really concludes the live stream here. This card is as amazing as I hoped it would be, and certainly either another week, another month, another winter, or when I'm retired and pensioner, sometime between now and soon, aka forever, we will for sure do some low-level programming here with this microcode. And if you want to see more gaming here with our, yeah, between writing invoices and exact scan and Linux software, if you want to see more gaming on my more live channel, let me know what you want to see. Quake, SimCity, Doom, you name it, Crysis. Yeah, will it? Don't ask, will it run Crysis? I have the feeling it will not run Crysis amazingly. Dave wants to see some more ancient Linux running. I have done this a month or two ago. You can go back in these videos. I have the Linux running 20-year-old Linux, Rock Linux, and it was even starting X and running Netscape or what this was. And yeah, this was Rock Linux 1, I guess, Rock Linux 1.2 from exactly 20 years ago. And yeah, so, but again, so I contributed to this open source Rock Linux stuff since 20 years. What is the base of T2 Linux that we still do, the source distribution with cross-compilation fame of the day. And we can, however, so this is why when we do vintage Linux, we will most likely prefer to do T2 or Rock Linux just for the time optimization of what I know and have done. And Matrox, so yeah, by the way, so fun fact, I have a Matrox Mystic. I said this, so I have a huge box of vintage stuff, 90% of which I did not purchase of eBay. The vintage stuff that we purchased on eBay the last 12 months were the 486 board, the VESA local bus card, because I never had a 486, I never had a VESA local bus card, and the Voodoo 2 and this Rendition Vérité. Most of the other stuff I had in the basement. The Millennium 2, I have my own, the identical just to this Millennium 2 that I had. I have the Matrox G450, I have my brother's TNT 2, and I have a Matrox Mystic. The Matrox Mystic, actually, fun fact, is of my best friend's girlfriend when they recycled this PC. Why do I have a box full of recycling vintage stuff? Because everyone, when someone like my brother, my best friend, or his girlfriend threw something away, I said, hey, if you want to throw it away, can I just take it? And usually they say, yeah, just run with it. And this is why I have a collection of stuff of this. Why, you might ask? Because of course back in the day this stuff was mostly worthless, and I mostly collected this for Linux testing, as I've done for 20 years this open source Rock Linux distribution. This is why I gathered this stuff what other people have thrown away for recycling, kind of. Anyway, other fun stuff that I have is Kuro 2 that we already did some soldering job on. I soldered there some DVI components that not yet fully work, but at least we have not destroyed this. If you're interested in SMD soldering, you find this Kuro 2 soldering DVI stuff on my channel from last year. And this is all the fun stuff that we building here an audience and a collection of videos. I will continue with PowerVR reverse engineering and maybe trying to get this DVI transmitter to work, and maybe most likely certainly try to get the PowerVR drivers. There was a PowerVR driver release for the Kuro 2 that I've never tried to use, and the Kuro 2 I also got off of eBay already a decade ago for reverse engineering, just because we nearly scored an automotive PowerVR reverse engineering project. This is why I, a decade ago, unrelated of this YouTube, purchased this PowerVR just to have some stock of... fun fact, I purchased this for just some €3 or something, just to have some stock in case of reverse engineering. And then this project didn't came into realization, and this is why I didn't continue with it. What do we have in the audience? Scored Penguin, multi-boot installer, boot HT, there's something wonderful runs on an... What was XVR 1200? Was it some Sun stuff? Sounds like Sun. You have a video card from Orchid. No, I think so. We have. I brought two VESA local bus cards because the first didn't work stable. It has some loose contact of whatsoever. One is the Cirrus Logic, and the other is what was the other? You can check this in the list of videos. The other was Cirrus Logic, and what was the other? Anyway, I forgot. Maybe S3? I forgot, something like that. Anyway. Yeah, so amazing stuff. I need to get some sleep. I'm already happy that this worked, because installing all those vintage drivers is always a little bit annoying. And as you see, when I now exit this, it will hang, which would be the scene. So I hope you enjoyed this. Happy to have so many people in the audience. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and leave in the comments below what you like to see here. Games, vintage, retro, programming, because we are also educational programming channel, and all other kind of random bits and pieces. XVR on my next week, nice stream. What? We'll try the XVR 1200 on my... Is this... What do you mean with SB2K? Is it Sunblade 2000 or something? Anyway, yeah. You see how much effort it takes buying here equipment, video capture, which unfortunately was some binary only junk. Although it works at least more than less. I'm actually surprised that it captures so smoothly. And yeah, thanks for watching. I can't stress enough, first of all, you guys rock, thanks for tuning in. And thank you everyone for subscribing. We crossed 3,200 subscriber mark today, which is amazing. Thumbs up for that. We celebrate each and every subscriber. And again, can't stress enough, leave in the comments below not to feed the YouTube algorithm, because I'm really curious to hear what you want to see. More programming, more product reviews, more vintage retro stuff. Although I personally find the mix quite appealing. Some latest and greatest Linux stuff, programming, educational stuff, vintage stuff in between. And yeah, I have a second channel, more live stuff. Ideally, I would run such long, more random live stream. Maybe even someday. I've shown already X-Wing. I have actually, I think I have, let's try if we probably can quit this, I guess. And I have X-Wing, so this is my gaming. This is my gaming here. This video capture is annoying. I hope it is. Maybe we, no, this is the wrong key. Then we, I have teased already X-Wing. I think we need to run it with Beaving as a slightly more modern version. Not sure, does this? Yeah, maybe this doesn't work in Windows. Amazing stuff. Maybe actually, no, maybe not. We have crashed this now apparently, or this video capture could also be, but we don't get sound anyway. What? Wait a second. No, this is this. Yeah, so you see compatibility. Maybe something disappeared here. Probably time to switch this off. I've never before tried to run X-Wing from within Windows. And fun fact, so Windows, we stayed very long. I grew up with 386 SX25. Camera might not be fully focused. I'm not sure if it's an autofocus or manual focus or whatever. Actually, we could try to press, it's an autofocus. But autofocus is not the greatest with this kind of light setting here. Anyway, so we stayed on DOS very long, my neighbor and me, and played here stuff like X-Wing, TIE Fighter, SimCity, you name it, and did programming. So I knew Turbo Pascal and my friend knew Turbo Assembler. We were like 12 years, 12 to 14, 15, 16. And so I taught my neighbors then Turbo Pascal and he taught me assembler, which was everything amazing. And we did all the programming in Turbo C and, no, not Turbo C, Turbo Pascal and Turbo Assembler. And I stayed extremely long on a 386 SX25 because we were an average family here, normal middle class family here. We didn't have money to shed on expensive PC parts. And my friend then, they had eventually, so the fun fact, so my friend, but this stream probably gets too long, probably should switch to the secondary, more live. Anyway, long story short, my friend first had an XT, like original IBM XT or something, so with Hercules or something, texted green or phosphor, whatever, on black. We had a 386 SX25, 2 megabyte of memory, and we always only had 2 megabyte, by the way, and later VGA. And so first I had the highly super fast PC, or it wasn't mine, I was 12, it was my father's. And then at my friends, eventually they upgraded to a 486 SX25 or 33 or something like that, or something of that sort. And then they had the super fast thing, and then it took a very long time. So I programmed and gamed very long on my father's 386 SX25 with 2 megabyte of memory. And an ISR, of course it was ISR, right? All ISR. And we used this like for 6 years or something. And only in 1996 I saved with delivering newspapers and whatnot and birthdays and collecting all the money for many years. I have purchased my first PC in components. I built my first Pentium 120. And at that time, I didn't have more money that I even used my father's ISA card, so I've run my Pentium 120 the first months with a OARC, no name, crappy. Actually, no, I think my father found in a recycling container an a T-Zang ET3000. Actually, I think. Anyway, it was an ISA card, and then it took another year or so until I saved enough money with birthdays and whatnot, and all the cutting grass and delivering newspapers, and brought the S3 Verge deaccelerator. So, but that's now really long enough. We have been live streaming way too long. And comments in the audience, Blade from Sun. Yeah, okay, then I determined this as I expected. And PowerPC Gag, yeah, PowerPC VF. You can, if you're new to the channel, you can go through the archive. We have lots of Sun and PowerPC hardware, MIPS and stuff, you name it. Are you in DOSBox or what? No, this is not DOSBox, this is real hardware. But you can rewind, I could switch it on and boot it again. This was real hardware. And this is a very special Rendition Vérité first ever 3D accelerated, hardware accelerated and anti-aliased and bilinear filtered Quake. Yeah, Commodore 128 was his first PC. We didn't have any of that sort. No Commodore, and another neighbor, they had an Amiga 500, but we never had an Amiga. We were sitting with our boring PC, and I enjoyed all the great graphic games at my other neighbors. And that is, yeah, back in the days when you were sitting with your neighbors and had fun and not only staring on a smartphone. And oh my god, so I purchased from the vintage stuff that I purchased just for this channel. So I grew up with a no-name OARC, also I think it was OARC or something, no-name clone VGA card, and only my father found on a recycling container at work an ET3000 that was a little bit... So, fun fact, the ET3000 didn't work. We plugged it in, it didn't work. So this is most likely they have thrown it away at work at my father's because it didn't work. And then we already nearly wanted to throw it away. And then I only took out all the memory chips and pressed it in again. And then it magically worked. So probably one of the memory contacts was corroded or something. And just taking all the memory ICs out and pressing it in again made it work, and then we had a working ET3000. I was not the most impressed with this card, however, and fun fact, I still have it. You see this original recycling container card from 1995-ish on my channel. And fun fact, from all I said it already multiple times, most of this vintage stuff is original stock from my parents' basement. What we really had, and the only other card that I brought from the stuff I already iterated here was an ET4000 W32i, specifically because this was one of the first 2D accelerators. I'm really irritated that this is not focused, so can we focus here or something, whatever. Yeah, focus online. Low light edition, it only made it worse. So much to that, thank you very much. Anyway, This ET4000 because it was the first 2D accelerator and I wanted to do the programming for the first 2D accelerator with bare metal low-level stuff. We have done this. You can watch this video also. I'm also slightly disappointed with this card because I was hoping it would be able to do access the linear frame buffer in the ISA memory space, but this card, I couldn't get it to work. Maybe the card is not wired up. I spent too many hours and nights on this, but it's not important. What is important is that in those videos I managed to get with my own low level demonstrating educational stuff, how to do this, how this was done, how to do this low level programming, and the 2D stuff works, I think. Hardware cursor probably, and 2D bit BLT and line drawing. And this is all the professional computer science IT fun that we are here for, mainly on this channel. But now, as usual, I took way too long here because I just see in the comments, of course, it's amazing that we have so many comments going on. And this is why I, in latest times, by the way, how many frame drops do we have here on this failing Vodafone cable stuff? Hey, 0 drop frames, yay, Vodafone cable doesn't suck tonight. 486 we also skipped, so I was extremely long on my father's 386 SX25 and then I jumped from this to a Pentium, so we skipped the 486. So basically I saved, there you see how middle class, I'm not making this shit up, how much middle class family I have been from, that I saved so many years that I skipped the 486 entirely. And I was always jealous about my other neighbor and other friends of friends who had a 486, so much amazing fast stuff that I didn't have. And yeah, skipped this. And then of course the performance shock was huge, going from this 386 SX25 with only 2 MB of memory to, I have no idea what I had, maybe 16 max, I guess, 120 megahertz. Pentium P54 or something, I guess 16 max of memory, I guesstimate anyway. DxO, what, oh my god, I had the Teasing ET4000. Yeah, so Teasing we have now here in stock, ISA card. And yeah, but ET4000, there are multiple variants. I specifically got the latest and greatest because the initial ET4000 without only the W32i or so, anyway, W32, only those had 2D acceleration. The early cards did not had 2D acceleration. They only had faster memory and a larger FIFO, like first in, first out, buffer on the host interface and faster memory subsystem. And only the W32 or, I'm not sure if the W32 or only this W32i, anyway, some of that sort, only those had 2D acceleration, and why I got this. By the way, this was not cheap, right? On eBay, I spent over 50 bucks plus shipping, so nearly $60, not dollars, euros. I spent 60, I mean, this is crazy, right? I said this already multiple times, how crazy I find this eBay prices for this vintage stuff. And fun fact, I spent more for this ET4000 W32i than for this Rendition Vérité. This was listed for $50 from Greek, Athens or something. And I made a price offer because I try not to overspend on this bloody vintage stuff that you don't need so much for much other stuff. And so I made a price offer, I think something like $40 or something, which I find is quite reasonable. And they accepted plus shipping, so this was in total 48 euro or 49 euro or something of that sort. Still not cheap, but less than, fun fact, less than an ISA ET4000 W32i. And yeah, now I think I finally probably have really all of the most esoteric stuff. Again, until just some months ago, I didn't even know that this card existed. And yeah, although a fun fact, I didn't really understand that this card existed. Although I I definitely 99% have packaged. So by the way, we can make use of this amazing, this is not so right. Let me check. Yeah, we need to switch this. Let's just, wrong, too many keyboards. Too many keyboards, and so let's quickly screen capture. Let's switch this over to this, move this OBS where this usually belongs, move this back over. Do we need this here? Not really. Anyway, I wanted to show this. Too many. Also need more, probably need more displays here. And then we really finally call this a day. What did I wanted? I wanted to Google something. Yeah, right. I wanted to show you the T2 SDE packages. So this is our open source successor of Rock Linux, T2 SDE. And we have here the Verity. This, what would this be called? Either Verity or probably, yeah, so Rendition. Most likely I package this here, maintainer. A fun fact, I'm the maintainer of a graphic card driver that I did not even really sort of understand or whatever that it exists. So yeah, I packaged, but then again, because why did I package this? Because back in the day with X33 and X34, we didn't have all the separated packages. This was only split in individual Xorg packages, or like libx11 and Xorg server and all the other 20 and font packages like X3, 86, MISC and cursor and whatnot, and RGB and bitmap and yada yada yada, all the 50 or whatsoever packages. And then I of course packaged those drivers, and yeah, so I packaged this without even understanding. Of course, when you package this, you don't Google all of those cards. What are those cards really are? Of course, Matrox, ATI, Mach 64, Novo or Nuevo or whatever. You understand, or S3 and S3 Word and so on. And yeah, you can't know, even if you know a lot and tinkered a lot and DIY'd a lot, you can't know each and all of those cards. Anyway, yeah, so now I finally have the card for this driver. Maybe another day I try if those drivers still work. I have the feeling most likely if I try to start them, they will most likely not work, because after a decade or two of Bitrot, they most likely don't work. Would be surprised if someone used this on Linux/Xorg the last decade. Anyway, Rage 120, yeah, and Rage 120 we also have. With all this other Unix gear, we have here Sun Ultra 5 that has a, does it have a Rage? Does it have a Mach 64 or Rage 128? Not sure. And other vintage stuff. So we have quite some stuff here. Don't you love when low level hardware isn't hidden by an abstraction layer? Yeah, so this is why I've done this ET4000. I've done, for those who are new and watch this later, I've done example code for the S3. So not only for the ET3000, ET4000, also for the Cyrus maybe, the VESA local bus card, and the Voodoo and the Verge. For the Verge, even 3D textured triangles, which I am really proud of. Amazing stuff. Took really a lot of time. In total, likely a whole week. Like, of course, not 1 week because I have to do professional IT stuff, but you fly somewhere, you sit on a beach, other people play Sudoku, I write low-level code. The Voodoo code works in principle. It does mode setting. You can watch this from 2 or 3 months ago. It works, it initializes the card, it does mode setting, it does 2D bitBLT. I have not yet, because the challenge was to get this to work at all, which I did. And then I had other stuff to do, growing this channel, professional IT work, Linux, virtualization, you name it. But I will definitely take the Voodoo 2 card out, that fun fact I also got just for the YouTube channel, and finish the 3D triangles. And another fun fact, if you want to get into this either vintage gaming or low-level code, you can just do this with DOSBox, with QEMU or PC emulator, PCM, because PCM even has virtualization or emulation for Voodoo, so you don't need to spend all this expensive monies for real hardware. You can do voodoo programming or games in PC emulator. And with this, it's time to really say goodnight. It is way later than I wanted, which usually happens when, oh my god, it's past midnight. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you soon for all the next videos and tinkering and gaming and everything else to come.